Hello, welcome to our presentation. My name is Jack and my co-author is Associate Professor Walton Wolff. I'm speaking to you from Brisbane in Australia on the east coast at the University of Queensland, where I work mostly with the School of Music, and Karen is in Cape Town at the southern point of South Africa with Stellenbosch University, where she works mostly within academic development and engineering. Assessment is the topic that brought Karen and I together originally, and our interest in this paper, which is a theoretical paper, has to do with building on some of Suellen Shay's work around assessment. Our disciplines of music and engineering both involve a considerable emphasis on the production of complex work by students for assessment, and this complexity is defined in part by the latitude which is afforded to students in producing the work. There are usually many more than one single way that a task requirement could be satisfied, and a similar latitude afforded to assessors in terms of the different ways in which an evaluation of the quality of that work could be formulated or put together. Following Suellen, we see the bases of assessors' evaluations of complex work as resting on two simultaneous realities, or two versions of what we might think of as the truth, what Suellen called the double truth. The subjective reality of the self on the one hand, and an objective reality established through communal understanding on the other. Currently, assessment in higher education tends to leverage externally defined criteria, that is, criteria defined usually in some material form, as the legitimate basis for certifying in a trustworthy, transparent way the achievement of students. The issue here is the potential for misalignment between the different versions of reality experienced by students and assessors and the version of reality promoted by external devices that are common in higher education assessment practice, like criteria, standards, attributes lists, and so forth. Our interest in this paper is in developing further resources for conceptualizing and analyzing the cohesion and or collision between these different realities in higher education assessment practices. Our concern is with finding useful ways to understand what is going on within assessment practices, to better show how the experiences of actors, students, academics, and so forth match or conflict with the claims that higher education is making in general about what it provides to graduates as certified through assessment. Methodologically, this is very much a theoretical project. Both Karen and I have backgrounds in legitimation code theory, and although that's not the sum of our conceptual influences, we are drawing very strongly on ideas from LCT in this work. Building on our previous work on assessment in higher education, in music and engineering respectively, this project aims to develop a theorization of assessment as a social practice at a more systemic level. And currently this theorization explores three main propositions. Firstly, we see assessment practices as oriented to objects of legitimation, some of which matter more than others to the different groups involved, meaning that students' works are just one of a range of possible objects of legitimation within assessment practices as a whole. Secondly, and given this diversity of possible foci for legitimation, we see assessment as a practice involving the reconciliation of multiple specialisms, multiple specializations coming together at the same time. And this can be both disciplinary specialization and subspecialization. For instance, the difference between, in music, strings and percussion, or in engineering, mechatronics and mechanical engineering. But it can also reflect cross-disciplinary specialization. And particularly when we're talking about assessment, this includes the body of theory and knowledge associated with assessment itself as an objective study. And so thirdly, using the LCT dimension of specialization, we understand the confluence of these specializations and of achievement amongst these specializations to be organized according to a set of common principles. We explore the concepts of epistemic relations and social relations as theoretical analogues to the subjective and objective realities making up the totality of individuals' experiences of assessment practices. So thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to the discussion.